Let me ask you something. What is the one thing that stands between you and the life you've always dreamed of? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Or is it simply the unwillingness to take that first step? You see, life is not a spectator sport. You can't sit in the stands and hope for victory. You have to step onto the field, face your fears, and take action. Today, I want to talk to you about overcoming your fears and taking action now. Because the truth is, the life you want is on the other side of the things you're afraid to do. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a young man standing at the edge of a cliff. Below him lies a vast, uncharted territory filled with opportunity, adventure, and success. But to reach it, he must take a leap of faith. He hesitates, his heart pounding, his mind racing with all the what-ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I fall? But then he remembers something his mentor once told him. The greatest risk in life is not taking one. So he closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and jumps. And as he falls, he realizes something extraordinary. He's not falling, he's flying. That young man is you. The cliff is your fear, and the leap, that's the action you've been avoiding. So, let's talk about how to overcome your fears and take action now. Because success is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. And the time to choose is today. Fear is a thief. It steals your dreams, your confidence, and your potential. It doesn't come with a warning, it doesn't knock on the door, it just slips in, quietly, until one day you wake up and realize you're stuck. You're waiting, and you don't even know what you're waiting for. Most people don't recognize this until years have passed. They live their entire lives afraid to take the next step, afraid to fail, afraid to be judged. And so they settle. They stay in jobs they don't love. They stay in relationships that make them unhappy. They accept less than they deserve, all because of fear. But let me tell you something. Fear is a liar. It magnifies problems that don't even exist. It convinces you that failure is the end, when in reality, failure is just a step forward. Every successful person you admire has faced fear. But the difference is, they acted anyway. They refused to let fear steal their future. I remember talking to a young man who had big dreams. He wanted to start his own business. He had all the skills, all the knowledge, but every time he thought about taking the first step, fear crept in. What if I fail? What if I lose money? What will people say? So, he did nothing. He waited. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. And every time I saw him, he was still talking about what he wanted to do. But he hadn't done it. And do you know why? Because fear had robbed him of his courage. This is how fear operates. It doesn't have to push you down, it just has to keep you standing still. Because as long as you're standing still, you're not growing, you're not progressing, you're not reaching your potential, and time keeps moving, whether you take action or not. That's the worst part. Fear doesn't just steal opportunities, it steals time. And time is the one thing you never get back. Every day you hesitate, every day you let fear control your choices, is a day lost forever. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to do something but kept putting it off? Maybe it was starting a new career. Maybe it was pursuing a passion. Maybe it was even something simple, like speaking up, standing out, or saying yes to an opportunity. But you didn't do it. Why? Because fear whispered in your ear. Not yet. You're not ready. Maybe later. And so you waited. You told yourself you'd do it next month, next year, someday. But here's the truth. Someday is a dangerous word, because someday turns into never. I know people who have spent 10, 20, even 30 years waiting for the perfect time. And do you know what happens? Regret. The weight of knowing they could have done more, but they let fear hold them back. But here's the good news. Fear may be a thief, but you can take back what it stole. You can fight back. And the way you fight back is simple. You take action. Not tomorrow, not next week. Because action destroys fear. The moment you take that first step, fear loses its grip. The hesitation, the doubts, the worry, it all starts to fade. You begin to realize that fear was never real. It was just a story you told yourself. And I'll tell you something else. There is no perfect time to start. There is no moment when fear completely disappears. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. The only way to overcome fear is to act despite it. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do you think they weren't afraid? Of course they were. But they did it anyway. They stepped out of their comfort zones. They took risks. And because of that, they grew. They achieved more than they ever thought possible. So my challenge to you today is this. Do the thing you've been afraid to do. Take the first step. Because the life you want, the success, the happiness, the freedom, it's on the other side of fear. And the only way to get there is to stop letting fear steal from you. Take back what belongs to you, your dreams, your confidence, your future. Because once you decide to act, fear loses its power. And that is the moment your life begins to change. Taking action is the antidote to fear. It's the only thing that will silence the doubts in your head and move you closer to your goals. You can think about your dreams all day long, but without action, they will remain nothing more than fantasies. Dreams without action are like seeds planted in dry soil. They'll never grow. You see, most people talk about what they want to do. They have ideas, they have plans, but they never move past the planning stage. They wait for the right moment, or they think they need to have everything figured out before they begin. But that's a trap. The right moment will never come. Let me share something with you. I've never met anyone who felt completely ready to take action. Never. No one ever has it all together. It doesn't matter how much you know, how many books you've read, or how many plans you've made. If you don't take that first step, it doesn't matter how much preparation you've done. I once spoke with a man who had been planning to start a business for years. He'd read every book on entrepreneurship. He had a perfect business plan. He knew what he wanted to do, but he kept waiting. He kept telling himself, I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when the economy is better. I'll start when I have more experience. He never started. And you know what happened? 10 years went by, and he was still in the same place. Talking about his plans, but never taking action. Time doesn't wait for you to get ready. It moves on, and the world keeps turning. And as time moves, so does the opportunity. But here's the thing. The moment you take action, things begin to change. The moment you step forward, you start gaining momentum. It's like pushing a car that's stuck in the mud. The first few pushes are tough. You may feel like you're getting nowhere. But once you get the wheels moving, the rest becomes easier. Action creates clarity. It doesn't matter how imperfect your first step is. It doesn't matter how much you don't know. The important thing is that you begin. Once you take action, you start to learn, grow, and adapt. You'll make mistakes, yes, but those mistakes will teach you more than any book ever could. The road to success is not a straight path. There will be detours, obstacles, and setbacks. But if you're always waiting for the perfect time, you'll never get anywhere. The key is to start now with what you have, right now. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. The perfect moment doesn't exist. It's only in motion, in action, that things begin to fall into place. Think about it. No one ever learned how to walk by waiting. You had to get up, stumble, fall, and get up again. And that's how you'll succeed in life. You'll start, you'll stumble, you'll fall. But if you stay in the game, if you keep pushing forward despite the setbacks, you will win. Success is not about never failing. It's about how many times you're willing to get back up after each fall. Every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. The key is to keep moving. And the more you take action, the easier it becomes to take the next step. The secret to success is simple. Take action and stay consistent. Don't let your fears control you. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because the truth is, the moment you start, the world will start to open up for you. I remember a time in my own life when I had a big decision to make. I was afraid. I didn't feel ready, but I knew I had to move. So I took a step, just one small action. And that action changed everything. It led to new opportunities, new people, and new experiences. That first step was the hardest part. But after that, the next step was easier. And the step after that was even easier. Every time I took action, it got simpler. The momentum built, and I started seeing results. The key was not waiting for things to be perfect. The key was moving, even when I was unsure. You can't wait until everything is perfectly aligned. You'll be waiting forever. You need to take action now, and once you do, the pieces will start to fall into place. The more you act, the more confident you become. The more you act, the more your mind expands. The more you act, the more success you will create. Remember, fear thrives in inaction. But when you take action, you defeat fear. You silence the doubts. You push through the resistance. And with each action, you get closer to the person you were meant to become. The moment you decide to take that step, the moment you stop waiting and start doing, your life begins to change. You gain control. You take back what fear tried to steal. And that's when everything begins to shift. So take action today. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. The world needs what you have. Your dreams, your talents, your gifts. They are waiting for you to act on them. Now is the time. The stories we tell ourselves are the most powerful forces in our lives. Every day we have a narrative running in our minds. It's the story of who we are, what we're capable of, and what we deserve. And for most people, these stories are not serving them. They're holding them back. I want you to think about this for a moment. What's the story you're telling yourself right now? Is it a story of hope, of potential, of action? Or is it a story of fear, of limitations, of reasons why you can't move forward? I want you to think about this for a moment. What's the story you're telling yourself right now? Is it a story of hope, of potential, of action? Or is it a story of fear, of limitations, of reasons why you can't move forward? You see, the stories we tell ourselves are often more important than the circumstances we face. Our minds are constantly crafting stories about who we are and what we're capable of achieving. And the problem is, many of these stories are built on fear and self-doubt, not reality. I remember speaking to a woman who had always dreamed of starting her own business. She had a great idea, a solid plan, and the drive to succeed. But every time she thought about taking action, a voice in her head would say, "You're not good enough. Who are you to think you can do this? You don't have the skills. You don't have the money. You don't have the connections." These were the stories she told herself, and they were powerful. They were shaping her decisions. They were preventing her from taking the steps she needed to take. And the saddest part was, those stories weren't true. She was more than capable. But because she believed the narrative she created in her own mind, she never took the leap. We all have these stories. Some of them are whispers in the background. Some of them are loud and intrusive. They tell us we're not good enough. They tell us it's too late. They tell us that we'll never make it. But let me tell you something. Those stories are just that. Stories. And the beauty of stories is that you can change them. You are the author of your own life. You have the power to rewrite the narrative. Take a moment to think about the story you've been telling yourself. Are you telling yourself that you can't change? That you'll never achieve your dreams? That success is for someone else? Or are you telling yourself that you have what it takes? That you're worthy of success? And that you will find a way, no matter how many obstacles stand in your path? The key to changing your life is to change your story. When you start telling yourself a new story, one of possibility, of courage, and of action, you start to believe it. And when you believe it, you begin to act on it. It's not enough to simply hope for change. You have to believe deep down that you're capable of the change you desire. This isn't just about wishful thinking. It's about taking control of your mind. It's about becoming conscious of the stories you tell yourself and being willing to replace the limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Because as long as you believe that you can't, you won't. But when you shift your mindset and believe that you can, doors begin to open. Think about the most successful people you know, or the ones you admire. Do you think they don't have fears? Do you think they don't face doubt and uncertainty? Of course they do, but they've learned to tell themselves a different story. They've learned to believe that they can overcome any obstacle, and that belief is what propels them forward. You see, success starts in the mind. It starts with the belief that you are worthy, capable, and deserving of everything you want. When you change your story, you change the way you show up in the world. You stop playing small. You stop waiting for permission. You start taking massive action. I'll tell you something. Every person I know who has achieved great things has faced obstacles, setbacks, and failures. But the difference is, they didn't let those things define them. They didn't let those experiences become part of their story. They simply saw them as temporary setbacks and kept moving forward. This is the key. You get to decide how the story ends. Will it be a story of regret, of missed opportunities? Or will it be a story of courage, growth, and success? One of the most powerful things you can do is to stop allowing your fears and self-doubt to dictate your story. Every time you feel that voice of doubt creeping in, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is this the story I want to tell myself? And if the answer is no, rewrite it. It's time to start telling yourself a new story. A story where you are capable, where you are worthy, and where you are unstoppable. The past does not define you. Your circumstances do not define you. Remember this, you are the author of your own story. You have the power to change it. You have the power to choose your narrative. And when you choose to tell yourself a story of action, courage, and possibility, you begin to create a life that reflects that story. You begin to live out the reality you've been waiting for. The stories we tell ourselves are powerful, but they are not permanent. You have the ability to change your narrative at any time. So, I challenge you today, rewrite your story. Make it a story of strength, of resilience, and of the relentless pursuit of your dreams. Because the truth is, you are capable of more than you think. And once you start telling yourself that story, your life will never be the same. There are two powerful forces at play in our lives: fear and regret. And when it comes to making decisions and taking action, these two forces are always at odds. One holds us back, while the other pushes us forward. But here's the truth. Both fear and regret are part of the human experience. The question is not whether we will feel them, but which one will you let guide your life? Let's start with fear. Fear is the voice inside your head that says, you can't do it. You're not good enough. What if you fail? It's that uncomfortable feeling that rises in your chest when you think about taking action. Fear is natural. It's human. But here's the thing. Fear isn't real. It's an illusion. It's a product of your mind, shaped by past experiences and future uncertainties. And while fear may seem powerful in the moment, it's really just a temporary feeling. It doesn't define you unless you allow it to. Now, let's talk about regret. Regret is different. Regret is the feeling you have when you look back on your life and realize you didn't take the chances you should have taken. It's that gnawing feeling of what if? What if I had taken that risk? What if I had stepped out of my comfort zone? Regret is the voice that says, I should have done that. I wish I had done it differently. And the hardest part about regret is that it's permanent. Once a moment is gone, it's gone. You can't go back and change it. It becomes a weight you carry with you for the rest of your life. Fear and regret are opposites, but they have one thing in common. They both influence your decisions. The difference is in how they influence you. Fear keeps you stuck. It paralyzes you. It tells you to stay safe, to play small, to stay within the lines. Regret, on the other hand, is a constant reminder of what you missed. It lingers in your heart like a shadow that you can't escape. When you're faced with a decision, whether to take that job, to start that business, to invest in yourself, fear and regret will both try to have their say. Fear will tell you to wait, to play it safe, to avoid the discomfort. It will warn you of the risks, the failures, the unknowns. But regret will whisper, you could have had something amazing. You could have been something more. The thing is, fear is temporary. You might feel it now, but in time it will fade. You'll get used to the discomfort, and once you take action, the fear will be replaced with something stronger: confidence. Regret, however, doesn't fade. It lingers. It stays with you, and it can become a heavy burden if you allow it to control your life. Imagine for a moment that you're on your deathbed. What will you regret more? The times you played it safe? The times you let fear keep you from moving forward? Or the times when you took bold action, even when you didn't feel ready? The opportunities you seized, the risks you took, the lessons you learned along the way? I know for a fact that no one looks back on their life and says, I wish I hadn't taken that chance. But many people do say, I wish I had tried. I wish I had pushed myself. I wish I had gone after what I really wanted. You see, fear might stop you from doing something once. It might make you hesitate. But regret stops you for good. Fear can be overcome. It's a fleeting feeling that loses its power once you take action. But regret is permanent. It's a part of you that stays with you forever, whispering in your ear that you missed your shot. So, which one will you choose? Will you let fear stop you from moving forward? Or will you embrace the discomfort of fear and push past it, knowing that the alternative, regret, will be much harder to bear in the long run? Here's the secret: action trumps fear. Every time. Fear is loud, it's convincing. It will tell you that it's too risky, too hard, too much of a stretch. But when you take action, you move past the fear. And once you've moved past it, you realize that it wasn't nearly as scary as you thought. And here's something else to consider. The biggest regret in life is not the things we've done, but the things we didn't do. The risks we didn't take, the dreams we didn't chase, the opportunities we let slip by. And once those opportunities are gone, they're gone forever. I encourage you to look at fear as your ally, not your enemy. Fear is not trying to stop you. It's trying to tell you that you're on the verge of something big. It's the signal that you're growing, that you're stretching, that you're about to break through to the next level. Fear is the price you pay for growth, for greatness. So, the next time fear rears its head, ask yourself this: what's worse, feeling afraid for a moment, or living with the regret of never knowing what could have been? The answer is clear. Don't let fear steal your potential. Don't let it rob you of the life you deserve. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about taking action in spite of it. The fear will be there, but you can move forward anyway. And when you do, you'll be one step closer to a life without regret. There comes a point in everyone's life when the rubber meets the road. It's the moment when you're standing at the edge of something big. You've thought about it. You've dreamed about it. But now the question is, will you take the leap? This moment is where your future begins. It's the turning point. The place where you decide to move forward, no matter how uncertain the path may seem. And I'm here to tell you that the future you've been waiting for is waiting for you to take that leap. I know it's not easy. In fact, it's downright scary. The leap represents a lot of unknowns. It represents stepping out of your comfort zone, away from the familiar and into the uncertain. It's easier to stay where you are. It's easier to keep going through the motions, to hold on to the security of what you know. But let me ask you this: what kind of life would that be? If you stay in the same place, doing the same things, you'll get the same results. But if you take the leap, if you decide to step into the unknown, your life can be completely transformed. The opportunities you've been dreaming about, the success you've been hoping for, the freedom you crave, it's all on the other side of that leap. I've seen it happen countless times. People who were stuck in their own fear, stuck in their own doubts, too afraid to take that first step. And then something clicked. They made the decision to leap, and everything changed. But here's the thing. The leap isn't always about giant, dramatic actions. Sometimes it's about making that small, uncomfortable choice that moves you toward your goal. It's about taking that first step, no matter how small it seems, and trusting that the next step will follow. I remember a story about a man who always dreamed of opening a restaurant. He had the passion, the vision, and the skills. But he had been stuck in a safe job for years. He was afraid of failure. He was afraid of losing everything. He spent years playing it safe, telling himself that the timing wasn't right, that the market wasn't ready, that he didn't have enough experience. But one day, something clicked. He realized that the timing would never be perfect. There would never be a perfect moment to take that leap. So he did it. He took a small, bold step. He started looking for locations. He began making plans. And within a year, he opened his restaurant. It wasn't a giant leap all at once. It was a series of small, calculated steps. But every time he took action, he moved closer to his dream. And now, years later, his restaurant is thriving. He's not just living his dream, he's loving it. The future he had only imagined became his reality. But only because he took that first leap. That's the power of taking action. Every leap doesn't need to be grand or perfect. It just needs to be a leap. The kind of leap that pushes you forward, even if it's just a little bit. The kind of leap that says, I believe in myself. I believe in my future. I believe I can figure it out along the way. Here's the truth. Your future is not something that happens to you. It's something you create. Every decision you make today is building the foundation for the life you'll live tomorrow. The future doesn't arrive by chance. It arrives by choice. When you take the leap, you're choosing the future. You're choosing the life you want. And it doesn't matter how many setbacks you face. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. What matters is that you keep moving forward. What matters is that you keep leaping. I know it's not easy to step into the unknown. It's natural to feel nervous, to feel uncertain, to feel like you're not ready, but I want you to remember this. You'll never feel completely ready. Life doesn't work that way. If you wait for the perfect moment, you'll wait forever. There will always be doubts. There will always be obstacles. But that's part of the process. That's part of the journey. And here's the good news. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know exactly how everything will unfold. You just need to take the leap. You just need to make the decision to move forward, even if it's with uncertainty in your heart. Because once you take that leap, you will start to see the next step more clearly. You will start to build momentum, and momentum will carry you further than you ever imagined. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment to come. It's time to stop letting fear, doubt, and uncertainty keep you from what you really want. Your future is out there, waiting for you. And the only way to reach it is to take the leap. So, let me ask you again, are you ready to leap? It's time to stop holding back. Your future is waiting, and it's waiting for you to take that first step. Don't let fear control you. Don't let regret become your story. Take the leap and embrace the incredible possibilities that await. The future you've dreamed of is just one leap away. So go ahead, take it. The world is waiting for you. As we close, I want to leave you with this thought. Your life is yours to create. The fears you face, the doubts that creep in, they don't have to define you. The power to change your future lies within you, right here, right now. All you have to do is take action. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking the leap, even when you don't feel ready, because that's when the magic happens. Remember, your future is not a destination. It's a journey, and it's waiting for you to take the first step. So don't let fear stop you. Don't let regrets pile up. Step forward, take action, and trust that the path will unfold before you. You are capable, you are strong, and you have everything you need to succeed. Now go ahead and take that leap. Your future is waiting